Thank you. So we're going to continue with our story, and our story is written by a very good friend of ours. Her name is Susan Lowell, and she lives in Tucson, which is where we're from. And actually, all of this started on a playground many years ago with kids probably a little bit younger than you are. We both had daughters who were 3, and they were in preschool, and they needed somebody to give them a push. Now, how many of you need a push on the swing? Or you remember your mom pushing you? Well, that's what we were doing, and while we were standing there pushing our daughters, we started talking. And she had created this story called the Three Little Javelinas. And have any of you read that story yet? Oh, excellent. It's a wonderful story. It takes place in our very own desert, and it's a variation of the Three Little Pigs, except it's told in a southwestern style. So we're going to tell you the story using music and words and characters. And I'd like to introduce some of the characters. David is going to portray the 2 male javelinas. And Wynn, of course, is Josefina Javelina. You notice she's far more delicate. And you may remember there is also a coyote. And Mary Beth is our fearsome coyote. And I will be your narrator. So buckle on your boots and get ready for an adventure. Once upon a time, way out in the desert, there were 3 little javelinas. Javelinas are wild, hairy, southwestern cousins of pigs. Their heads were hairy. Their backs were hairy. And their bony little legs, all the way down to their hard little hooves, were very hairy. But their snouts were soft and pink. One day, the 3 little javelinas trotted away to seek their fortunes. Soon the javelinas came to a spot where the path divided, and each one went a different way. The first little javelina wandered lazily along. He didn't see a dust storm whirling across the desert until it caught him. The whirlwind blew away and left the first little javelina sitting in a heap of tumbleweed, brushing himself off, he said.
I'll build a house with them.
And in no time at all, he did. Then along came a coyote. He ran through the desert so quickly and so quietly that he was almost invisible. In fact, this was only one of Coyote's many magical tricks. He laughed when he saw the tumbleweed house and smelled the javelina inside.
A tender, juicy pea.
Coyote was tired of eating mice and rabbits. He called out sweetly,
Little pig, little pig, let me come in.
Not out of here, my chinny chin chin!
shouted the first javelina, who had a lot of hair on his chinny chin chin.
Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in.
And he huffed, and he puffed, and he blew the little tumbleweed house away. But in all the hullabaloo, the first little javelina escaped and went looking for his brother and sister, Coyote, who was very sneaky, tiptoed along behind. The second little javelina walked for miles among giant cactus plants called saguaros. Then he came upon a Native American woman. She was gathering sticks from inside a dried-up cactus. She planned to use these long sticks called saguaro ribs to knock down the sweet cactus fruit. The second little javelina said,
Please, may I have some sticks to build a house?
"Ha-oo," she said, which means yes in the language of the desert people. When he finished building his house, he lay down in the shade. Then his brother arrived, panting from the heat.
Is it hot?
And the second little javelina moved over and made a place for him. Pretty soon, Coyote found the saguaro rib house. He used his magic to make his voice sound like just another javelina's.
Little pig, let me come in.
But the little javelinas were suspicious. The second one cried,
No, not out of here, my chinny chin chin!
"Bah," thought Coyote.
I am not going to eat your hair.
Then Coyote smiled, showing all his sharp teeth.
I'll huff, and I'll huff, and I'll blow your house in.
So he huffed, and he puffed, and all the saguaro ribs came tumbling down. But the two little javelinas escaped into the desert. Still not discouraged, Coyote followed. Sometimes his magic did fail, but then he usually came up with another trick. The third little javelina trotted through beautiful Palo Verde trees with green trunks and yellow flowers. She saw a snake sliding by, smooth as oil. A hawk floated round and round above her. Then she came to a place where a man was making adobe bricks from mud and straw. The bricks lay on the ground, baking